I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is a Patreon review for Matthew. Thank you so much for that, for joining my Patreon. Thank you to everyone who has done that, whether via that or PayPal. I'm trying to get to these reviews as fast and as best as I could. If not, I apologize in advance. But yeah, if anyone's ever interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, review, or so forth, you do it either down below in the info box, via directly to PayPal or the Patreon. There's certain tiers for certain things. But the video for today, Matthew wanted me to check out the very first episode of Breaking Bad. Now, Breaking Bad is a show I've heard a lot about and had never gotten the chance. I just rarely get a chance to watch any type of TV shows nowadays. Just been busy with life and now everything else that's going on. But I knew of it. I had heard of it. I like Bryan Cranston as an actor, and he does a really good job. Granted, I only saw the first episode, but I really enjoyed Bryan Cranston's performance. He plays a character named Walter White, who is a high school chemistry teacher, but with money being short, he's also working part-time at a car wash. He has a wife. He has a teen kid who suffers from cerebral palsy. And one thing leads to another, and he has inoperable lung cancer. And he decides not to tell his family. And has to figure out what to do next. And it's hard to review the fact that it's only less than an hour long. For a TV show, it's well filmed. Started off interesting enough because you have Bryan Cranston talking to the camera, and then he's out in his underwear aiming a gun as something approaches. Good way to hook the audience in. Bryan Cranston, he was the MVP. I could see, based on his performance, from what I understand reading up, the makers of the show wanted to twist the genre where a lot of TV shows is about a character that maybe something bad happened and they're trying to regain their retribution. That's the wrong word to use, but they're to forgive themselves, to make up for the wrong things that they've done, to seek forgiveness. But this is the opposite. This is a guy who is a nice guy who starts off on the right path and then slowly becomes, I guess in a way, Scarface. It's like, in a way, becomes the criminal because he knows, because his lung cancer, he only has a few years to live. And I guess for the money, maybe for the thrill, maybe there's more showcase on the show as to reasons why he did this. But he decides to do this. And he finds out a bit more about meth, making meth. His brother-in-law is part of the DEA. It's actually Dean Norris, who's a pretty good character actor. And by going on the ride along with him, he also sees one of his former students, Aaron Paul. Now, Aaron Paul didn't really impress me with movies like Need for Speed, which he was a star in. But what I've seen in this, he was pretty good. Yeah, he's not sure, because like, hey, you used to be my teacher, but now you want to, what are you, crazy? And Bryan Cranston, I liked his answer, I am awake. But not he didn't say in a crazy way. He said it as a matter of fact of, there's a guy on short borrowed time and he's going to do this, and there you go. And you definitely see this attitude change in him where he's more confident. For example, there's a bully picking on his kid who again has cerebral palsy, and he beats the shit out of his kid, kicking him. And they get an RV, and he gets a suit, and Aaron Paul's kind of making fun of him, but then realizes he knows what he's doing. And I don't know, the way they made looking meth, they made it seem interesting, as in visual style, the way it's edited. Now, whether this is how you really do it, who knows, but I guess they knew that you can't just have the camera sit there and have them make it. And then some bad stuff happens. It leads to pretty much Bryan Cranston having to make this stuff. So this smoke, I forget the actual term, phosphorus. I could be wrong on that. Which fucks up these two guys that were chasing them. And he locks them in the RV. And, you know, the way it ends is not the way you think at the beginning. Things are not exactly how it is. And again, with this new attitude and gusto, he goes home, and in the beginning of the episode, near it, you could tell that the sexual relationship between him and his wife is not the best, because it's like she's trying to give him a hand job, but then she's more paying attention to eBay or whatever on the computer. But at the end, he's more gusto, and she's, whoa, like, impressed by it. So I thought it was a nice introduction, being a guy that had heard of the show, had seen clips, had seen pictures, had seen the multiple references. Would I ever watch the show? I just don't have time. I'm very, very busy doing requests for the PayPal Patreon. But I would say it seems well written enough. The actors are doing their jobs well. Bryan Cranston's definitely the MVP. I am a Bryan Cranston fan. I liked him. Some of the early stuff I saw him. He was in this episode of The X-Files, which I guess is how he got hired, because Vince Gilligan, the creator, had worked on The X-Files. And then there was an episode that I thought was a pretty good one, where Mulder, Dave Duchovny, gets kidnapped, held hostage by this guy played by Bryan Cranston. I believe the episode is called Drive. It's from season maybe 7. I want to say 7. Season 6 or 7. I want to say 7. And he has this thing, Bryan Cranston has this thing in his head where you have to go in this one direction and this one certain miles per hour. I guess kind of an inspiration from Speed. But also, not only is the speed, but also the certain direction. And then you find out later why. And Bryan Cranston did a good job in that episode. And he's been in other stuff. He was one of the only decent things in the 2014 Godzilla flick. And he's been in multiple other movies, and hell, he was Zordon in the 2017 Power Rangers, which I reviewed, and he did a good job in that. He was in the Total Recall remake, which is not his fault that movie sucked ass. Really good actor. I never watched much of the other show he was in. Was it Malcolm in the Middle? I didn't watch much of that show. But yeah, maybe one day down the road I will watch more of stuff. It's seemed like a pretty cool show. So again, I'm not sure what else to say, because people have either seen the show, they know of the show. It's not a long video because it's one episode of the show, but it did its job well. I can't really think of any flaws, because if I did, they're probably stuff that's addressed later on, since this went on for 4 or 5 seasons. I'm not sure how many seasons. But yeah, Bryan Cranston is definitely the MVP. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Thank you once again, Matthew, for the request. You guys take care. And we will see you in the next video. Later.